Okay. Persistence. So you've got take responsibility, don't lie, self-discipline, and then persistence. Never giving up.
Sorry, dude, I have to go. I have a meeting outside.
Oh,
I have
okay.
to go. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Okay, we've got 3 minutes left. Well, how to say, persistence is the idea of never, ever, ever giving up. Unless you have come up against an obstacle or a goal or something that's unrealistic, and you know you can't do it. You've given it your best shot, you've tried everything, and you didn't get there. Okay? In that case, you still don't quit, remember? You just kind of take a step back, maybe reevaluate it and say, maybe I need to change this goal a bit, or do this or do that, and then go right back at it again. Remember the story of my running? My first year, when I tried to win, I got dead last. And down at the bottom of my little notebook, I wrote, I'm going to get it next year. Right? I was persistent. I didn't, because I got beat horribly. And the first time, I came back and said, next year, I'm going to get it. Persistence. Stay with it. Stick to it. Don't give up. And that is an attitude that is developed. Okay? You don't just get it overnight. But you have to pick something that you're going to stick with, you're going to stay with. And it has to do, again, almost all this stuff has a vast array of ways you can apply it. Because if you're persistent in your financial well-being, if you're persistent in your physical well-being, if you're persistent in your emotional well-being, you will make progress. But if you just casually come along and every once in a while, try to do something, it never works. Never works. But if you're disciplined and persistent, then you'll keep coming back and doing it a little better, step by step, and that's how you make progress. That's how you move forward. Yes, honey.
Do you make a difference between persistence and obstinacy?
Obstinate?
No.
Obsession?
Obstination. Obstinacy.
Obsession?
No. When you're just stubborn,
Like obsession?
Or
no,
Like ignorance?
like
no.
Obstinacy.
What's the difference between like being
Obstinate.
persistent and being obstinate
yeah.
and being stubborn?
It's just like when you
Oh, obstinacy. Oh,
okay.
obstinate. Yes. A little different. Usually obstinate in English, at least obstinate means you're resisting something. If you're obstinate, you're withholding back. You're not pushing forward. You kind of you're obstinate. You're not rebellious necessarily, but you're not agreeable. You're just that you're not going to do it. So
In my understanding from the French, obstinacy is when you keep trying when the thing you have to do is give up. Sometimes giving up is the solution, it's good.
Oh,
yeah.
When you just keep, because like, I don't want to give up, and you just
Gotcha.
keep
Okay.
going.
Yeah.
But you have to.
Obstinate. Yeah, I guess it could mean that as well. It's when you refuse to quit when probably you should. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this isn't quite that. This is. Yeah, I kind of gave the example where I said, sometimes you push it, and you see that you're not going to meet your goal. Okay? You've done everything you can, you're not going to meet it. So then is when you step back, and you take a look at it, and you maybe reevaluate it, and then you come back and do it again. Now, that can be obstinance, where refusing to give up. But yeah, it has a little, the connotation is just a little bit. But good work, yeah. Okay, well, we're past our time, so, yeah, tomorrow's the last day, so, we will see you in the morning. Thank you. Cheers. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. The last session, so, some of you are going, phew. But, yeah, just a little bit of recap. Obviously, the whole idea behind what we're going to talk about this week is the nature of discipleship, right? What does it mean? And oftentimes, as we've talked about that you focus on the spiritual side of it, which is really important. But then there's a whole other side of it. You as intellectually, mentally, emotionally, physically, all these other aspects kind of fit into that. And so, rather than just being one-dimensional, because as I think David and I talked earlier on, and I mentioned that even years ago, one of my concerns about the BTS program was clearly the students who came through, they went back and their lives were marginally changed, as far as we can tell. Or they went back pretty much to what they were like just before they came. So something wasn't sticking. And so I even experimented, I love to experiment. So I think I told you about experimenting with some DTSs when I was the base leader in Lausanne in Switzerland. And it was pretty much a disaster. It didn't turn out at all like I thought it would. But at least the good thing about when you fail is you get to learn from it, right? Go, okay, that didn't work very well let's try this. And so I think over the years my concern has been to giving you, really I guess preparing you, in a sense, preparing you to go back, okay? Because we've got you in the greenhouse here, right? Which is great. We need this. This is a place we can focus and not be distracted by the outside things and really, get focused in. But at some point you got to leave the greenhouse and go back out into the real world. And that's the test of how much of this actually sticks, is actually a part of it. And so my whole attempt this week is to hopefully broaden, your exposure in terms of realizing when you go into the world, and especially the sense that this postmodern environment, let's put it that, the postmodern environment that you're going back into is not one that's Christian friendly, okay? It's one that has decided that there is no truth, there is no rationality, there are no binaries, everything, is broken down, and what happens is you lose reference points. Now, the good news is this: if you can orient yourself properly in the postmodern world, you are going to go right to the top. Because everybody else is still going to be down in the soup and in the mud trying to figure things out. And if you've got a pretty good grasp on who you are in Christ, and your motivation is to be the best disciple you can possibly be, I'm assuming that's, you don't want to be like, I'd like to come in last on the discipleship thing. We all want to do the best. There's another term called stewardship. You may have heard that. Being a good steward. Well, that's what God's called us to do. Being a good steward of what He's given you in terms of the potential. And so, when you apply these things that we're talking about, not the quote spiritual ones, but the other ones, when you apply yourself in discipline and honesty and taking responsibility and all these kind of things, you are going to grow like crazy. I guarantee you will grow. And while others are still trying to find their way around, you're going to be taking on more and more responsibility, more and more leadership, influence, and hopefully, God willing, you guys will be the ones that ends up being the leaders and the influencers, not in the social media sense, but in the sense of being those who take a stand, knowing what you believe, why you believe it, and then have the character to back it up. You guys are going to be powerful. unbelievably powerful. And so, I'm just encouraging you. This is a lot of information this week. Some of it you may think is not applicable, and it may not be for you at this time. But if you're taking some notes, at some point you might look at it and go, oh yeah, that might be important. That might be important to apply. And so, as we finish up today, there's just about 3 or 4 more things we're going to talk about. First of all, comments or questions from what we did yesterday or the day before? Anybody have any burning questions you want to ask? Madeline's got not a burning question? No, you're just fixing your hair. Okay.
Sorry.
Good. Great. Okay, well, we're going to carry on here. This is an interesting verse, isn't it? Jesus was talking and he said, this is from the New Living Translation, but actually it's actually a little bit more than even this. It's the present continuous tense. So it should say, those who ask and keep on asking will receive. Those who seek and keep on seeking, it's a continuous thing, you will find. If you keep knocking on the door, it's going to be open to you. So the idea behind this is sometimes you can't just go knock, knock, and go, oh, Mr. Answer. Jesus is saying, knock on the door, knock on the door, knock on the door till somebody answers it, sort of thing. Or ask and seek and seek and seek and seek and seek and seek and seek. So a lot of times, and the problem I have personally with answers is as soon as you have the answer, you stop asking the question, right? And then you start growing. So it's good to get, quote, answers or understanding, but then let that be a springboard for you to go forward, ask more questions, get more understanding, keep on pushing on. Don't give up. Don't just suddenly, think, oh, well, I figured it all out, I'm good. No, you have to just keep on knocking, keep on seeking, keep on asking as a way of life, not just, some point in time and then you stop and go, well, I'm done. And so Jesus says there's something about what, I guess the best English term that I know of is persistence. You're persistent. You don't take no for an answer, or you keep pushing on. You keep pushing on no matter what the circumstances are. And what this does, of course, then, is it continues to open the doors, and you get brighter, you get more understanding, you get on, and that is one of the consequences of that, is that you grow. Okay? When you stop growing is when you stop asking questions. And many times in a dear Christian faith, there's a lot of folks who aren't asking any questions. I got the answer in I got the answer in Sunday school when I was 6, so I'm good. Yeah, well, you may have gotten an answer that's good for you when you're 6, but when you're 30, that answer may not be quite as appropriate as it was when you're 6. And so this idea of persistence,